have an off-topic question. Oh, okay. Mayor, I just want to ask about your policy regarding homeless encampments. I'm wondering two questions. What happens to individuals who receive outreach from, the social services folks and sort of still refuse to leave the street? I'm wondering if there's a policy in place in that. And my second question is talking to homeless advocacy groups. They had a lot of hope in you, some of the promises you made during the campaign regarding FHAPS and also ending homeless encampment sweeps. I got a sense of profound disappointment from those groups today. So I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about that. Do you feel you are going back on some of the promises, very clear promises you made during the campaign?
Thank you for the question, Jeff. So in December, I was asked about my thoughts on the prior administration's policy. And I said that I thought that that policy was a failure, and I judged it as such because of the outcomes that it resulted in over the course of the year that it was in action, over the course of the measurement of a year that it was in action. On January 5th, soon after coming into office, I made a decision with my team to put a pause on that prior administration's policy as we started to develop our own policy that would generate far better outcomes for the city. And we knew that that is a policy that we would only deliver on once the prolonged Code Blue came to an end. Because as we know, in a Code Blue, the focus should be on getting homeless New Yorkers inside, not on the question of how we respond to structures. And so the policy that we have developed has a number of important distinctions. The first is, unlike in the prior administration, when the NYPD were being tasked with the work of responding to homeless encampments, we have made the decision to actually have this be a responsibility of the Department of Homeless Services, that this be their responsibilities in line with their work. And so not only will this work be housed in a different agency, the work itself is far different. And what I mean by that is, unlike in the past administration, where much of the interaction with a homeless New Yorker was defined by the first day when you'd provide a notice and the seventh day when you'd initiate a sweep, in our administration, every single day of that time period will be characterized by outreach. Outreach from homeless services workers to homeless New Yorkers. The importance of this, as we saw over the course of this prolonged Code Blue, was that by having relentless outreach each and every day, you are able to connect with homeless New Yorkers for whom their first reaction might be that of skepticism. Their second reaction might be that of wariness given their prior experiences within the shelter system. But their third, their fourth, their fifth, their sixth reaction may be one of interest in the possibility of shelter services, programming support, supportive housing. And so that's why, if you see in our preliminary budget, we increased funding for specifically this kind of outreach so that we would be able to sustain this over the course of those 7 days so that we can actually connect homeless New Yorkers with the services that they require.